Hi, this is Reality News Japan. This channel shows what's happening in Japan based on the fact. Some neighbor countries try to give lots of propaganda to disregard Japan or to keep their regime based on full of their imagination. South Korea ignored due date of the 18th of July 2019 when Japan set based on 1965 agreement. Agreement of 1965 says Japan and South Korea finish contentions completely and finally. Japan was poor after losing the war and around 2 to 3 million people died. Japan was still under reconstruction at that time. In spite of this, Japan paid equivalent to double of annual budget of Japan. Before determining the price, Japan suggested to pay directly for claimers such as forced labors, but South Korea demanded to provide by themselves and asked for that money. But South Korean government did not deliver that money to the claimers in South Korea. It is South Korean issue anyway. However, after 70 years of war, South Korean so-called forced labors won the Supreme Court to claim compensation from Japanese companies in South Korea, saying they were forced to work in spite of settled as international agreement of 1965. Some cases such as Japan Steel Company, people filed lawsuit to grandchildren of the one who worked. The workers were paid properly, even higher wages cases existed according to the pay statement. Regardless those facts, it should have been settled completely and finally. South Korea insists Japan should follow judgment of the court. Both Japan and South Korea join in Vienna Treaty, which says international agreement should not be broken by regional verdict of the court. So it is completely bollocks of South Korea. First of all, they should follow agreement of 1965. Secondly, if they want to compensate, South Korean government should pay. Thirdly, plaintiffs are not the one who worked actually, and even so they voluntarily applied to work and properly paid. No one can make agreement with South Korea regarding these. The agreement also describes clearly if anything to reverse happens, two countries should raise to ICJ with certain steps. That is why Japan set due date step by step from the 9th of January 2019. First step was the 9th of January to require discussion between two countries. Second was the 20th of May to discuss with third party. Third was the 19th of June to select member of arbitration by third party. The 18th of July was final due date to set third party from both countries. South Korea ignored all of them. Once Japan rejected South Korean proposals like Japanese company should pay, in the next to organize fund from both countries and compensate, in the next again to organize fund from both countries and South Korean government and compensate. Anyway, they did not answer to all the due date. To file to ICJ, both countries need to attend, but South Korea rejected that, therefore Japan has no option but retaliation. Japan has warned to South Korea if any damages happens on Japanese companies, Japan has no choice but retaliation. It could be the one to make South Korea out of white list of export from August, that is extended to more than 1,000 items from current 3 materials. Despite they ignore about 1965, they arrogantly require Japan to discuss about this issue of curbing export, which is not sanctioned yet as it is just process change of tightening export controls for dangerous goods and not export ban to South Korea. Furthermore, the criteria should be managed by each country, therefore it is not violation to WTO. In spite of that, South Korea says they file a lawsuit to WTO about this. South Korea was out of white list until 2004. Was it violation to WTO before 2004? South Korea also fails to explain the purpose or usage of 30% of hydrogen fluoride which Japan executed curbing from the 4th of July. It could be smuggled to North Korea or it could be utilized as chemical weapons in South Korea and so on. The rule to discuss or explain this was ignored more than 3 years, therefore it is quite reasonable to tighten the controls for Japan. I wonder South Korea broadcast these facts in their country. Citizens are just conducting serial boycotts of Japanese products, even high school students, and still more than 40% people support Moon Jae-in in spite of failure of economy failure, which could be worse due to export controls from Japan. From our common sense, it is unbelievable, but they just look pity and alike North Korea. Let's see what kind of countermeasure Japan will announce. Thanks for watching the video. I have lots of topics to show you, based on the truth. See you next time.